You have imported them from IFMIS to the internet banking platform, and you do not have resources to pay. You have to remove those transactions so that you are able to vote for those transactions, so that you capture them in the budget that you are able to pay. Because if it's not captured in the budget, you cannot pay. So that voiding will happen. But it's now upon us at the county level to put in internal control measures to ensure that by the time we are getting to the closure of the financial year, we don't process transactions that we are not sure of paying. So that is an internal control measures. But if it has been processed and the 31st of June finds it there, you will have no option but to void it so that you're able to bring it to the budget again.
I want to get consensus from the various players, the OAG, the Treasury, and the county governments. And I think, Clerk, we need to do communication so that we are brought up to speed on anticipated changes with the transition to accrual basis of accounting. Because we are thinking that we are using the same system that we have used over the last 10 years. Your financial statements are going to look slightly different, and perhaps the audit queries are going to be slightly different with a change of reporting or accounting systems. Patrick, do you anticipate changes, or we would still be on the same frame of mind?
Chairman, there will be changes because, for one, even pending bills which have initially been disclosed in the financial statements as a simple disclosure will now require to be recorded in the financial statements as liabilities. That is now different from what we have had in the past, where we had the...
Even assets will find their way into the financial statements.
Exactly, Chairman.
So, because we must also ask ourselves, whether, fine, we are making the transition, but are the counties ready? Because it looks like the frame of mind is still in the olden days. Issues of assets have not been concluded, pending bills, many counties are still struggling. I can see there are still some procedural gray areas.
Chairman, we are ready. And we're already preparing our reports. Our third quarter report is already prepared with accrual in mind. So we're already migrating. The challenge...
So it means that when I look at your financials, I'll be able to see your up-to-date assets register.
Our assets will be there. Our creditors will be there.
Was your assets register complete at the time of this audit, 23-24?
No, it wasn't complete.
So it is, what you're saying is futuristic?
It's futuristic, yes.
Okay.
But maybe, Chair, my request to Senate that has to go to National Treasury is also IFMIS must be reprogrammed so that it is able to move in tandem with the changes.
Yeah, and until that is done, you cannot say you are ready. There are a lot of things. I don't know whether the task force was ever gazetted. The transition task force. Was it?
Chair, it was, and it's in progress. Transition may go up to the year 2027, especially for the assets, because we have so many assets outside there that are not known. And there is a department in Treasury doing on assets specifically. But I want to raise the issue of my colleagues saying that they cannot process. In case they don't process and they have money, and the system will have been closed, they can't pay, they can't use that money.
Yeah, so there must be a conversation. Public Sector Accounting Standards Board, the National Treasury. I think we need to schedule that meeting so that we are told on the state of readiness for that transition. And we're also told the impact and how things are going to look different once there's that transition. Now, if you say it's up to 2027, I don't know whether we are going to have some counties still on cash and others on accrual. Auditor, what do you expect all the 47 counties to report on? Has there been a directive from Treasury?
Chair, maybe if I go before the auditors, the directive is all counties we are reporting on accrual. The issue of assets, we've been given 3 years. The purpose of those 3 years is also so that we can budget for valuation of those assets. But in the first year, the directives are we need to list all our assets. So that in the second year, when you are valuing the asset, it's from an audited list that you have presented.
Yeah, so then it will be an incomplete report because listing is different from valuation. you need to understand your balance sheet. Yes, Treasury?
Here there was a circular that was issued last year, around September, October, November, they are from Treasury, that all the government agencies should record their assets, those which they do not have even the clue of their figures, they forward to Treasury, because there is a department doing that. So I tend to think by the year 2027, the valuation will be done and every county will have the figures of their assets as they are.
Okay, that's technical speak. I would like us to proceed so that we start looking at some of the projects that make sense to the citizens of Kwale. Members, if you do agree. So we have spent a lot of time on accounting issues. The next one was irregular charge on the cash vote. Auditor General, from the recommendations we made, is there a report? Is this been concluded or it's still work in progress?
Chair, the county executive has given explanation on why there was an irregular charge, and the explanation is valid, and I'm in agreement, Chairman.
So you are satisfied with the explanation?
Yes, yes.
So we shall take the explanation that has been provided by the county under budgetary control and performance. I think this is what we've been talking about from the beginning, non-remittance of expected contributions from mineral royalties. But because you have not looked at the ROR, I think that will also help us when we meet next to see whether you're relying on proceeds from Nairobi, and yet they are local proceeds that you should optimize. So this is a matter that auditor keep it in view, and you can report in subsequent cycles. Unresolved prior year matters, they are to do with the food processing plant and Majimoto Eco Resort. They are substantive audit issues, as well as a Comani market. So we'll look at them, I think they are in the following passages. Compensation of employees, non-compliance on ethnic composition in recruitment and overall staff composition. Governor, have you appeared before the Senate Committee on National Cohesion on this?
Yes.
You,
I did appear.
you have submitted your responses on this
yes.
and submitted your action plan?
Yes.
So, members, if the Standing Committee on National Cohesion is dealing, we shall await their report on that matter. Failure to recruit thresholds for persons with disabilities. Was this part of the inquiry before this Committee on Cohesion?
Yes, Chair.
Of course, this will change a little bit now that we have the Disability Act, which was sponsored by Senator Crystal Asige. I don't know whether legal you had looked at it to see whether it imposes any new conditions on counties.
Yes, Chair. Section 5E of the Persons with Disabilities Act requires the county government to set aside, it states that every county government shall promote the inclusion of persons with disability in the county public service by putting in place measures to ensure that at least 5% of the employment positions are filled with persons with disabilities. 5E, 51E.
Sorry, what percentage?
5%.
5%.
Yes.
And that's a number in the Constitution? Because I think that number is derived from the Constitution.
Yes.
It's 5%. Okay, anyway, we'll need to do a legislative impact assessment because we are the ones who passed the law. Because there's also the distribution of, there are quite a number of factors. So this is a matter that requires progressive realization, isn't it? Or is it immediate?
I believe it requires progressive implementation, given that it was enacted recently, but given the constitutional imperative, it's at least one that should be, a legislative impact assessment would be in order.
Okay. So we can also keep that in view, but Vice Chair?
Yeah, but look at the management response. Applications from this group of people did not meet the minimum requisite qualification for the job advertised. Is it for all the jobs advertised? Or what is the situation that is obtaining right now in Kwale County? Do you have some people with disabilities? So much so that we're just talking about meeting the threshold. How many are they? What is the percentage?
We are at around 1.5%. So we have people with disability in the government. It's work in progress.
Okay, so again, it's just like the gender question and the ethnic question. It might take time, but auditor, don't drop it. If they are not complying, that is a law as it is. We proceed to irregular payment to the Council of Governors. Auditor, what was your concern?
Chair, our concern was payment that was effected to Council of Governors, which is, just 1 second, Chair. Yes, do I read the query?
Yeah, it's a brief one.
Thank you. The statement of receipts and payments are not for to the financial statement reflect use of goods and services expenditure of 2,145,339,562, which includes 144,897,401 in respect of hospitality supplies and services. Included in hospitality supplies and services is 4 million paid to the Council of Governors for devolution conference registration expenses, contrary to Section 37 of the Intergovernmental Relations Act 2012, which states that the operational expenses of the Council of Governors should be provided for in the estimates of the revenue and expenditure of the national government. In the circumstances, management was in breach of the law.
Governor, what was your response?
We've looked at the recommendations of the Senate, and I can confirm before this committee that we've not paid since 2023.
You've not paid since 2023, but in your financial statements, there was evidence of payment of 4 million.
It was for the previous years.
So where is that evidence to show that what you're paying for was for the previous years? Because that's a minimum threshold for you to demonstrate to us that yes, you are paying for a service or paying for an event, because we have a big problem if you're going to be paying money to COG, which they used to take the Senate to court. That is the basis of our concern. If there is an event, for example, devolution conference is coming to Homa Bay in August, I would like Kwale to participate. If the Council of Governors has quantified what it will take for a county to participate in the devolution conference, that's okay. But if it's just a blanket figure, which then can be used to take people to court or to support operational expenditure, then there is a problem, because there is already clear funding mechanisms for the COG. So could you just help us understand?
Chair, for the devolution conference, it pays for accommodation and participating fees for the county executive and county assembly.
Yeah, that's okay. Where is that evidence that you are invoiced 4 million for the following services and you paid 4 million for those services?
I've not paid for Homa Bay.
No, Governor, leave Homa Bay out of this. This 4 million that you paid.
This was for the devolution conference in, it was in?
When you make a payment from the county revenue fund, isn't there an invoice that prompts payment?
Did they give us invoices?
Governor?
Yes, there's an invoice.
So where is that invoice? That's what we want to see, so that we see the description of the invoice and whatever it is that you're paying for.
They are still looking for it.
Is it on file? No, I said there's nothing. Let's stop that conversation of what submitted earlier, because if it was an outstanding matter, you should have come with a full set of documents.
Yeah, we'll look for that and submit it to the committee.
If it's not before us, then we go by our recommendation on EACC to act.
The recommendation says further.
No. It's not about further. This recommendation was made in the year 2017. I was the chair of this committee. I presented a fiduciary risks report to the House. The House adopted this recommendation. And thereafter, the COG started fundraising to take us to court to challenge the report that had taken to the House. So I'm very familiar with the history of this. It's not about further. We must also take care of contributions that were made irregularly, especially after that Senate motion on fiduciary risk report was adopted. So I think to avoid wasting time, we'll just be asking EACC. Patricia, we had a conversation on how to give effect to this. We need to have a discussion on how to give effect to this recovery. Okay. Vice Chair, was there anything?
I think that is fair enough.
Was the amount to COG 4 million or 5 million?
4 million.
4 million.
It was 4 million.
Because in your financial statements, there's a strange entry of 5 million under other payments. And I thought that that's where you are hiding your COG contributions from scrutiny. It was just a block of 5 million unexplained. I thought that that could have been the COG contribution. Auditor General, you look at it in the financial statements under the notes. There's a 5 million under other payments that is not explained. You look at it and be satisfied that it was valid expenditure.
Thank you, Chair. Including, now that our teams are on the ground, they're also going to check whether there are further payments and maybe to confirm the position of the governor that she has not made any further payments to the Council of Governors. We'll confirm that, yes.
Governor, for avoidance of doubt, if you're paying for specific services or activities, that is okay. Insist that the Council of Governors invoices and describes what it is that you're paying for. Our problem is contribution for operational costs of the COG. That should be borne by the consolidated fund. So don't go saying that Senate imetusimamisha kwenda devolution conference. Just let the COG invoice you clearly, clarify the services or activities. I think that is admissible. You have an explanation?
No, we have the receipts from the Council of Governors.
Well, a receipt and an invoice are two different things.
The invoices are
For which financial year?
Yeah, for the financial year 2023-2024, that is when the payment was made in that financial year. 2 million was for devolution conference that was held in Wasingishu from the 15th to the 19th of August 2023. So that money was,
and 2 million?
And 2 million was for the intergovernmental relationships.
And what is that?
That is what is used to run, support Council of Governors.
That's operational expense, which is clearly provided for under Intergovernmental Relations Act. We will solve it when we pass the law, but now we are dealing with the law as it is. So I think, members, we don't have to waste a lot of time on this. We go by our past resolution. Could we proceed to ownership documents for ECD centers?
Yes, there is. Thank you, Chair. Do I read?
Maybe just the key issue. I think it's summarized there on that table.
So the financial statements reflects an expenditure of 1.7 billion, 1,799,004 for 623. Part of which includes 66,337,172, which is in respect of construction of buildings. Further, 34,096,300 was incurred on construction of ECD centers. I have a review of records from the Department of Education indicate that they entered into contracts with various contractors for construction of these ECD classrooms in various places within the country at a cost of 132,823,548. However, management did not provide ownership documents for land on which the centers are being constructed, including title deeds, leases, or memorandum of understanding on use of pieces of land. And as a consequence, in the circumstances, ownership rights, obligations of the expenditure, and commitments valued at 132,823,548 could not be confirmed.
Okay, and it was a recommendation that the county should fast-track the processing of title deeds to safeguard public funds spent on the projects. Governor, what is the
We've started the
action so
process,
far?
Chair. We've started the process, Chair.
Just be on record on the process that you have started. Be clear.
The process of adjudication of land where the county projects are located has begun. Annex Chair 8, Cabinet Resolution.
Yeah, Annex 160.
That is an executive resolution. Do you have any other document to show that there's a process going on? Like application to lands office?
Chair, what Cabinet resolved was all departments that have projects. So one of the processes is to identify where the projects are so that we can give a schedule to the department that deals with urban planning so that it can give a budget for what it would cost to begin the adjudication process.
So this remains outstanding. It's a matter that the Auditor General should keep in view. And Governor, you see, we have heard stories about your ECD programs. I can see here they're referred to as ECD centers. Is it a center or it's just a classroom like this room?
So it's an ECD center. It has 2 classrooms, an office, toilets, kitchen, play and arts equipment. It's a center.
So you need to take care of these bureaucratic things so that when you come to Nairobi, we can be talking about how this is working and how other counties can benchmark with Kwale.
It
Because
is working.
many other counties are just building a 4-walled room and without toilets, without kitchen, without playgrounds. So take care of these small things so that you can come here and tell us proudly what Kwale is doing when it comes to early childhood education.
We have 45 ECD centers,
How many wards do you have?
20 wards.
So that's an average of, are they distributed evenly across the wards?
Chair, I can confirm that they have actually ECD centers, having visited the county in my education committee, and I think it's a place that you can benchmark from. For other counties, they can benchmark in Kwale.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying they need to take care of these small things that then become a blot on something that could be successful. Yeah, please provide, go beyond this memo, and when the auditor comes, let there be evidence that the accounting officers have complied with the resolution of the cabinet. Let's go to Comani Market. Comani Market. This one has been before us previously. What is the key issue, Auditor?
Chair, the key issue is one, the contract sum for this particular market, wholesale market at Comani, was 105,911,142, and the contract period was supposed to end on 2nd May 2022. This amount was later varied by 12,150,838 to 118,061,980. The contract was terminated on 2nd November 2021, before the contract period was over. And at that particular time, the contractor had been paid 95,308,265, including 9,538,26, which was retention money. However, this particular payment was not supported with final acceptance of goods, works, or services delivered by the contractor before termination of the contract and final project appraisal. We carried out field inspection during the month of October 2024, and we established that the market had been vandalized with doors, windows removed. Cold room machines had been removed or vandalized, but management explained that market was not in use due to a court order obtained by the contractor barring the county government from accessing the facility. So our issue here was value for money in respect of this particular project could not be confirmed. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, we had recommended that you provide funds for completion of the project to avoid loss of funds already incurred in the project. I think a recommendation that didn't find its way here, I think we had queried the release of retention money of 9.5 million, because what is the principle of retention? Isn't it to deal with any liabilities arising or defects arising out of a project? So if you've already released even the retention money and the project is not in use, first of all, is a project complete? Is it complete?
The project was complete. In fact, it was commissioned. It was working before the contractor went to court. When we released it, the retention money, it's because...
Court over what?
Sorry?
Went to court over what? What is the problem?
His contract was terminated. The contract period had elapsed. We finalized the work by ourselves as county government. Then we started operating the facility.
Not everyone has the institutional memory that I have. So speak to us as if we don't know. Because otherwise we'll ask a lot of questions. I know I've had this story before, but some of my members have not had it. So you just need to be a little bit more detailed about this so that we know where the problem is. Senator Lelego?
Chair, I've just noted from the presentation that the contract was supposed to end on 2nd May 2022, but the contract was terminated on 2nd November 2021 before the end of the period for the contract. What might be the reason for that?
And that's why I'm saying you need to address us as if we don't have the background information.
And Chair, perhaps Governor needs to be clear when she says the project was completed and handed over. We need to know at what point in time was this project completed. Because when you are talking of terminating and completion, those are two distinct issues. You can't marry the two together, Chair.
Okay. Governor?
I leave the Chief Trade, who is here, to respond to this matter.
And maybe let him give us the story, because we are starting from contract sum of 105 million. Then it was later varied to 118 million. What caused the varying of that tender? Is it loss of time? Is it new features on the market? Why did we stop the contract? Let's get it very clearly.
And Chair,
Yes, Senator Lego.
When you see total payments, the 95,308,265, and retention money was paid at 9.5, totaling to about 104 million or thereabout. And the governor has reported that this project is complete. We have not seen, because the total project as worried was 118 million. So you still have part of the money for this project not paid?
Thank you. Chair, I'm the Chief Officer in charge of trade. The contract for Comani market started with the first contractor, which is end-to-end, and his contract elapsed. After elapsed, we gave out we terminated the contract because the contract was elapsed for more than 2 years. Then after terminated, with the recommendation from the PPRA, we did a labor-based, and we completed the contract, and it was commissioned by the EU ambassador, and then Cabinet Secretary for Devolution. That's where we are, and the contractor went to...
I think, Chief Officer, deal with the question that has been asked, that from the report of the Auditor General, the contract period was to end on 2nd of May 2022, but there was a termination on 2nd November 2021. So let's deal with that termination.
Chair, if I may intervene, there is a mistake. It's supposed to be 2nd May 2021, not 2022.
Auditor General?
As far as we reviewed, it was, maybe we can clarify on the same.
Yeah, to clarify, it's 2021, not 2022.
So, so if the period had lapsed, what were you terminating?
We gave him an extension, and he didn't complete the works. That's why we terminated him, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, so then what is the problem?
To us, Chair, we don't have a problem because it's procedural. But to him, he went to court. But we have all the evidence, and
What took him to court? Because if they went to court, there must be allegations that something was not fulfilled. What is that? Without getting into sub judice issues.
Yeah, Chair, maybe perhaps the county attorney is here. Maybe that question would be better dealt by the county attorney. Just to understand the substance of the court case.
What is the problem?
Thank you, Chair. I'd first like to mention that the matter is still subject to sub judice. It's still active.
Well, we have our standing orders and interpretation of matters sub judice, so I will make that decision. But you must tell us what is the problem.
Thank you. As mentioned by the Chair, the contract period was, the contractor had requested for an extension of the contract, but the speed of which he was carrying out the works was not satisfactory. And at some point, the contract period lapsed. So the county government was forced to terminate the contract. After the county government terminated the contract, the contractor went to court. But by the time the contractor went to court, when we terminated the contract, as advised by the PPRA, we embarked on completion of the market through a labor-based approach. So by the time the contractor was going to court, the market was actually completed. It was commissioned. I remember it was commissioned by the then Cabinet Secretary, the former governor, and several EU ambassadors.
What did the contractor sue the county for?
He sued the county, one, for termination, and he obtained orders, he obtained injunction orders against the county government from accessing the market, re-advertising, re-tendering, or engaging in any works in the completion of the market. But by the time he was obtaining those orders, the market was already complete and it had already been opened. The traders had already been allocated and they had already started carrying on business in the market.
Were you in office then?
I was not in office in this capacity.
Was there a county attorney?
There was no county attorney chair, but there was a director of legal services.
So you are saying that by the time they received the orders, the market was complete?
It was already complete, Chair, yes.
Overtaken by events?
Yes.
I
Nonetheless,
see in your contingent liabilities, you have provision for 10 million for this. What's the thinking? What's the rationale behind that? You have provision 10.419 million, end-to-end Comani market. You anticipate that that application will be successful?
at the moment, Chair, that was the claim that they were bringing forward.
The 10.4 million?
The 10.4, because that is the amount which was outstanding to them according to their assertion.
And this is a matter that is coming up on 4th of June?
Yes.
Okay. So there are some details that we might not get into to avoid getting into that sub judice space. But now, at some point, there were traders in the market. For what duration?
Almost 2 months.
For 2 months. And then, where were the traders taken? Governor, have your mic on.
After they were removed from the market, now they are trading outside.
Outside that market?
Yes.
So they are seeing a market, but they can't use it. They are sitting outside the market.
Yes.
And this has been on for how long now?
It's from 2022.
So for 2 years, they're seeing a market, they cannot
We've
use the
been
market.
pushing through the courts, but we are yet to succeed.
Because these senators here, we are determined to deliver 450 billion to county governments in the next division of revenue. But these are the things that make county governments look bad. Because do those traders understand that there is a legal matter, or they're just seeing that the county government ni bure kabisa?
They understand. They understand there's a legal matter because they were in the market when they were removed by goons.
Then injunction issued by court.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, there is an injunction.
What were the grounds for termination? Is it that you didn't comply with the law? Why did the court issue an injunction? There must have been a reason.
The injunctions that were issued was, one, stop the county government from accessing the market and any other person from accessing, even the traders from accessing the market. Because what the contractor, to my belief, is he wanted to was seeking conservatory orders of the project.
So already you had paid him, I can see, 95 million?
Yes, Chair.
From a contract of 105, why didn't you have a mutual disengagement? Because at the end of the day, the people of Kwale want value for money. Whether you have disputes with the contractor, why didn't you manage it in such a way that you had a mutual separation?
We tried engaging the contractor, but it was during the campaign period, so he was also taking it politically. And after, when he came in, I tried to engage the contractor myself. When it was too much, I decided to occupy the market, but I was served with contempt orders.
Mr. Chair, if you see, the market is now being vandalized, meaning that even the 10 million that he set aside may not restore it to a state where the people of Kwale will be able to utilize it. Am I right in that conclusion?
Very unfortunate.
Actually, the 10 million is set aside for in the event, for payment of the contractor, not even for rehabilitation of the market.
Yeah, so, you know.
We are hoping that the contractor will pay the costs.
No, that one is speculative. That one
Chair,
will be determined by the court.
what we filed in court, because the court issued orders when the market was complete and fully operational. Now, because of the order, the market was given to the contractor. So we have filed a countersuit for claims for that damage, which we have valued, and it's on record in court that we are demanding the contractor to pay, to restore the market to the position where the court awarded him that market.
You know, Chair, that will be speculative in a manner that that is, and you'd agree, Omogeni, those are subject to court arguments, and if the courts would likely go with your arguments, and I can tell you without any fear of that might not happen, Chair. My only issue is this 10 million that the contractor is perhaps claiming, and looking at the status of the market now, it's being vandalized. There's a provision for 10 million. We are also spending more money again in paying lawyers. And I don't know, Governor, there's nothing we can do in terms of parting ways with this contractor amicably, just to try and see whether we can agree on an exit package and we have the market for the people and we stop this court drama in court.
I've mentioned here,
yes.
I tried myself engaging with the contractor, and that is why now we are waiting for the verdict of the court. I did try myself to engage, and we even engaged elders in this matter. So we did our best as county government.
So that train has left the station, it can never happen again.
Chair, now I'm also worried. I don't know that this issue was resolved with auditors. There is a query that the payments were not supported with acceptance of goods and services. So meaning that you are also on the wrong, that you paid without full documentation to support the payment.